we were talking about the big first congressional district, which Jimmy is the representative running for Democrats, and that includes Lawrence now all the way out to the Colorado line. When we had the vote no vote August 2nd, they broke down the vote by congressional districts. You know, it looked like at first, oh, the urban areas carried that vote. When they broke it down by congressional districts, each congressional district had a majority of no over yes.
That's right.
Each congressional district. If we get out the vote this next election, we can flip more than one seat. It's possible. The people are there. We just have to convince. Protect your vote. Vote for Governor Kelly. Retain the Supreme Court justices. Vote no on the amendments. And that's what we have. We have signs on vote yes, Supreme Court justices, because the plan is long-term, if they can remove the Supreme Court justices who already interpreted our Constitution that women have bodily autonomy, if they can remove those justices and have an opportunity with a different governor to appoint different justices, then our vote would be null, void. So vote yes, retain Supreme Court justices, and no on the amendments, and the position statements from Women for Kansas are in your handouts. And if she has time, maybe Castle is stopping by for a few minutes to answer questions about that. But let's get to Jimmy. Jimmy has driven here from Garden City. Jimmy is a teacher, so he's dealing with high school. Public education is under attack, and teachers need support. And he's also chair of Finney County Dems. Are you still? Former chair of the Finney County Democratic Party. And he coaches a robotics team who is performing in a competition today that he had to miss. So Jimmy's here at some sacrifice to himself. He has signs, and we're just so grateful for your time today, Jimmy. Thank you.
And before I start, I'd like to jump on the thanking Kelly Walls. Not only is she inviting me out for lunch later today, she also
you're taking Jimmy?
She also opened her home up to me last night because, you know, it's a 5.5-hour drive from Garden City. Talking about big districts, I'll get to that in a minute, but it's a 5.5-hour drive from Garden City out here to Lawrence. She invited me to stay at her house last night, so I didn't have to leave at 3 or 4 a.m. So, maybe around.
Anybody who can meet at 12:30 at Free State, you guys are welcome to join us for lunch. That's lunch.
Yes, I am Jimmy Beard. I am a full-time high school math teacher. I think I'm in my 10th year now. I am formerly the chair of the Finney County Democrats. I'm still a precinct committee person out there. I was raised by a military family. Both my parents served 20 or more years in the Air Force. I have a stepdad who served a few years in the Navy before becoming an officer in the Air Force. I've got an aunt who served in the Navy. My brother's in the Air Force right now. My sister did a stint in the Army. So we all learned at a very young age to put service to others before ourselves and to leave behind something better than what we walked into. That drive to help people is why I became an educator. It's why I worked on getting my education degree through Fort Hays back in 2009. It's why I worked with organizations like the ACLU of Kansas and Loud Light to protect voting rights and voting access in Finney County, with GLSEN to protect queer youth in Garden City. And that's why I'm running for Congress today. Because we as Kansans deserve better than what we're getting. We deserve someone who will actually represent Kansans and not the Republican Party. Because that's what we have in office right now. We have a person who votes the Kevin McCarthy line, the Mitch McConnell line, not the Kansas line. And that's what I want to do as your representative. I've been asked a few times on the trail, if I win, when I win, will I be an AOC-style Democrat or a Pelosi-style Democrat? And I really hate that question. I'm not representing coasts, I'm representing Kansas. I'm not an AOC Democrat, I'm not a Pelosi Democrat, I'm not a Biden Democrat. I'm a Kansas Democrat.
All right.
I want to vote on issues that matter to us. I want to represent Kansans at the federal level and not the political parties. We deserve a representative who's willing to admit that public services need to be funded, that we need to take education seriously as an investment in our country's future, that our farmers deserve an agricultural right to repair, that it's time to end the federal prohibition on marijuana so that it fundamentally can be treated no different than alcohol or tobacco, and that our farmers can grow industrial hemp. Because as a crop, that uses significantly less water than wheat and corn, which we grow across the state, and our aquifer is running dry.
That's right.
We need a representative who's willing to admit that we are in a climate crisis as crops wither and livestock die, instead of ignoring the problem and hope it gets better in 20 years. Spoiler alert, it won't. We need a representative who's willing to respect the decision that we made on August 2nd. Being the only man in this room, I don't have to tell you that it's not a legislator's position to stand between a woman and her doctor. These medical decisions are personal, sometimes challenging, but should not be restricted by them. As your representative, I will vote to codify Roe v. Wade into federal law. As your representative, I will vote to codify marriage equality into federal law. Because for some reason, in the year 2022, we have a sitting Supreme Court justice who said that decision was not made correctly. As your representative, I will vote to protect the right for every American to access, not just have access to health care, but affordable access to health care.
Yes.
The average American is $900 medical bill away from bankruptcy. And the leading cause of bankruptcy in this country is due to health care bills. And I'll leave you with this last story before I take questions. And this is a story my sister asked me to tell. My sister is a single mother of two. She used to live in Denver. She did her stint in the Army. She left, and then now she moved out to Garden City with me back a few years ago. She was tired of living in the city, wanted to come out and see what rural Kansas was like. This January, or maybe last December, she was diagnosed with stage 3 cervical cancer. Taking care of her children while we're going through this is just a matter of logistics. Her boyfriend and my partner and I just kind of split it with the kids because medical access isn't, and across the country, rural hospitals are closing. Medical access isn't what it should be. So she's able to get some of the work done in Garden City, but she'd have to go out to Wichita to get some biopsies done. She'd have to go up to Denver to get radiation and chemotherapy. Taking care of the kids was manageable. What I don't know how we're going to do is the hospital bills, right? It's 3 weeks of chemo is expensive. And so she went through her treatment. She came back and she got back on Mother's Day. It was great. It was a surprise for the kids. They didn't know she was coming home that day. And everything looked to be in the clear. We just had a few follow-up. She had a few follow-up appointments back last month where we found out that while the main tumor was gone, it's still there in the lymph nodes, and we're still trying to figure out what the plan is. I'm confident that my sister can beat this. I have faith in her. She's a very strong woman. What I don't know how we're going to do is handle those hospital bills. And it's a sacrifice. Even my mother is willing to move away from Denver, maybe not to Garden City, but to somewhere, so she can help my sister with her hospital bills. We have a system right now where people are going bankrupt because they have cancer, and someone's getting rich off of that. The system is messed up, and I want to help fix it rather than just ignore the problem and kick people out of healthcare. So we need to vote for people up and down the ballot on November 8th, or early voting started just a couple of days ago. We need to vote up and down the ballot for people who will protect Kansas, protect their right to bodily autonomy, protect their right to vote, protect their right to an education and their right to earn a living, and to protect their environment. People like Gina Repass for the Secretary of State, people like Mark Holland for Senator, and people like Governor Kelly. So vote on, make sure you get out and vote on November 8th. We have, there is the canvassing later today. Anything you can do to volunteer to help make a difference. As was mentioned earlier, vote no won every single congressional district in the state of Kansas, including the ruby red big 1st congressional district. 20 points 2 years ago. So this seat is flippable, and it will take all of our efforts to do that. So thank you. And like I said, the big first congressional district. I want to make every Republican who gerrymandered you into my district.
That's right. Make